Our journey begins in 490 BC with the Battle of Marathon. As we delve deeper into the recesses of history, the 5th century BC unravels as a seminal time frame. These were the days when empires were built and civilizations shaped through the indomitable will of humanity. It was an epoch marked by the rise and fall of mighty powers, an era that would cast a defining shadow over the chronicles of human civilization. One singular event during this time stands out, an event that would go on to shape the course of Western civilization, the Battle of Marathon. This confrontation was not just a battle. It was a watershed moment that would have far-reaching consequences for centuries to come. The Battle of Marathon unfolded during a time when the Persian Empire, under the formidable rule of King Darius, was in the throes of expansion. The empire, intoxicated by ambition and driven by an insatiable thirst for territorial domination, was growing exponentially. The Persians, bloated with might and hubris, cast a covetous gaze on the independent Greek city-states, plotting a grand scheme to bring them under the Persian yoke. However, these Greek city-states were not mere chess pieces in the grand game of global power dynamics. They were known far and wide for their fierce independence and unyielding autonomy, a beacon of resistance in an era of rampant imperialism. The prospect of yielding to a foreign invader was anathema to their very ethos. The city-state of Athens, renowned for its military prowess and democratic values, led this resistance, the bulwark against the Persian incursion. Their spirit was rivaled only by their readiness to fight for their sovereignty. The stage was set, the chessboard laid out for an epic showdown, a clash that the destiny of the Greek city-states and shaped the course of history. An armada of Persians, with their vast resources and sheer stood on one side. On the other, the Athenians, armed with their indomitable spirit, prepared to face this threat on the plains of Marathon. The Athenian army was led by General Miltiades, a man of extraordinary strategic acumen. Despite the Persian forces vastly outnumbering the Greeks, Miltiades remained undeterred. He devised an ingenious strategy, a military tactic that would leave an indelible mark on warfare history. It was a high-risk, high-reward plan that would either lead to a resounding victory or a crushing defeat. Miltiades decided to thin the center of his battle lines, fortifying the flanks instead. This course of action was fraught with peril, yet it was a risk he was ready to take. With the implementation of this strategy, the Greeks steeled themselves for the Persian onslaught. The Persian troops, brimming with confidence, launched their assault, only to be met by a wall of Greek resistance. Miltiades' strategy started to bear fruit as the reinforced Greek flanks began to encircle the Persian army, throwing them into disarray. This tactic, later known as the double envelopment, revolutionized warfare strategy and continues to be studied in military academies worldwide. Despite their superior numbers, the Persians found themselves entrapped, their grand invasion plan crumbling around them. The Greeks, bolstered by their innovative strategy and unyielding determination, managed to turn the tide of the battle. The Persian forces were repelled, their dreams of conquest shattered. This unexpected victory was a severe blow to the Persian Empire, while for the Greeks it was a moment of wild euphoria. It was a triumphant validation of their resilience. The victory ensured the continued independence of the Greek city-states, setting the stage for them to blossom and contribute significantly to the progress of Western civilization. However, the Battle of Marathon was not merely a military victory. It was a profound affirmation of the power of the human spirit, of the ability to resist, endure, and overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The Greeks, with their deep-rooted philosophy, path-breaking democratic ideals, and remarkable artistry, left an indelible imprint on the sands of time, shaping the world as we know it today. Moreover, the Battle of Marathon also marked the beginning of a long-standing rivalry that would persist for many years to come. But at that particular moment, the Greeks stood victorious, reminding the world that even the mightiest empire could be challenged and defeated. The Battle of Marathon laid the groundwork for the classical age of Greece, an era that sculpted much of Western civilization. This significant battle, fought on the plains of Marathon, remains a beacon of resilience, strategic genius, and indomitable spirit. It serves as an enduring testament to strategic planning, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of the Greek people. Moving forward, we arrive at 331 BC at the extraordinary Battle of Gamela. This significant historical encounter unfolded on an austere, sun-scorched plain in the area we today recognize as the heart of Iraq. The colossal battleground was a stage for a monumental confrontation between two immensely powerful forces. The protagonists of this fierce conflict were none other than the accomplished prodigy Alexander the Great, who hailed from the distant lands of Macedonia, and the seasoned veteran, commanding King Darius III of the expansive Persian realm. Both men, formidable in their own right and known for their battle prowess, were no strangers to the harsh realities of warfare. They had previously engaged in battlefield encounters that constituted an intricate web of conflicts, with each encounter adding another layer to their competitive rapport. Their past experiences, filled with dramatic confrontations and strategic standoffs, culminated in this final face-off, a defining moment that forever altered the course of history. At the tender age of 25, Alexander the Great had already carved his name into the annals of history as one of the most efficient and tactful military strategists of his time. His ambition was colossal, a massive flame fueled by a vision of a world united under his singular and unchallenged rule. This required the comprehensive annihilation of the Persian Empire, which stood as a formidable obstacle in his path to global domination. Alexander was determined to remove this obstruction with an unwavering resolve. Opposing him on the battlefield stood the towering and regal figure of King Darius III. He was at the helm of the most substantial empire the world had ever witnessed at that point in history. The burden of defending his realm from the insatiable onslaught of Alexander brought with it a sense and desperation. The odds appeared to be significantly in favor of Darius. His forces were considerably larger than Alexander's, with some historical accounts suggesting that the Persian troops outnumbered Alexander's forces by nearly 5 times. However, as history has often demonstrated, the sheer size and strength of an army does not always predict the outcome of a battle. Strategy, tactics, and the element of surprise to be just as crucial, if not more so. Alexander was a living embodiment of this truth. His brilliant strategy was to cleverly manipulate Darius's overwhelming numbers against him, turning a perceived advantage into an exploitable weakness. He skillfully lured the Persian cavalry out, strategically creating a void in the center of Darius's line. Alexander then executed a daring cavalry charge directly into the heart of enemy ranks. This audacious movement demanded impeccable timing, precise execution, and unyielding the strategy, as daring as it was, proved decisively successful. The Persian line wavered, faltered, and then shattered under the pressure. Darius, spotting Alexander charging toward him like a ruthless predator, abandoned the battlefield in terror. The sight of their leader in hasty retreat disheartened the Persian troops. Their morale plummeted, and the battlefield quickly devolved into a chaotic scene of panic and disorder. Alexander's victory was resounding, crucial, and indisputably pivotal. The Battle of Gamela held a greater significance that extended beyond merely being a military achievement for the utter downfall of the Persian Empire and the birth of a new epic. Following his decisive victory, Alexander proceeded to conquer the remaining parts of Persia, Egypt, and the surrounding regions, thus carving out one of the most expansive empires the world had ever witnessed. His innovative strategies, commanding presence, and exceptional leadership have earned Alexander an indelible place in the annals of history as one of the most extraordinary military leaders. Despite his military accomplishments and his unparalleled conquests, Alexander's dream of a unified world under his rule would never entirely come to fruition. His empire, though vast, did not endure and eventually fragmented into separate realms after his demise. Despite this, his legacy thrived. His battlefield strategies evolved into templates for future leaders, his empire became a paradigm for future conquests, and his ideal of a united world, although unfulfilled, continues to inspire generations. As we delve deeper into the Battle of Gamela, we are compelled to view it beyond just a strategic military conflict. We perceive it as a pivotal turn in the course of history, signaling the end of one era and the dawning of another. we witness the collapse of the Persian Empire, the grand ascension of Alexander the Great, and the shaping of a legend that continues to echo throughout the corridors of time. It is with this understanding we proclaim, the Battle of Gamela marked the end of the Persian Empire and the rise of Alexander's vast. Our next destination brings us back in time to the year 216 BC, where we find ourselves amidst the dust, heat, and turmoil of the Battle of Cani. This decisive event unfolded during the turbulence and chaos of the Second Punic War. We imagine ourselves standing on the grounds of Cani, a small, picturesque village nestled in the southeastern stretches of Italy that would soon turn into a tumultuous theater of war. Cani, with its rolling pastoral beauty, was soon to become the stage for one of the greatest military stratagems in history. Amidst the tranquility of this idyllic hamlet, a Carthaginian general was planning to inscribe his name in the annals of military history forever: Hannibal Barca. The tranquil setting was soon going to erupt into a cacophony of clanging armor, whinnying horses, and the desperate cries of men in battle. Hannibal, a figure renowned across centuries for his military brilliance, audacious warfare tactics, and strategic genius, is one who is revered, admired, and studied in the chronicles of warfare even today. He was about to execute a groundbreaking plan that would not only stun the mighty Roman Empire, but would secure his place as an immortal figure in military history. Hannibal, true to his legacy, was a master in the art of war, always assessing, strategizing, and thinking steps ahead of his opponent. Going up against the might of the Roman Republic, the reigning superpower of the ancient world, he maintained his valiant resolve. Hannibal was a grand master of warfare, constantly strategizing, perpetually thinking several steps ahead of his adversary. Understanding the Roman superiority in numbers, he also grasped their predictability and the overconfidence that came with their numerical might. Utilizing his cunning and strategic brilliance, Hannibal exploited this predictability to orchestrate their downfall. With their numbers inflating their confidence, the Romans unsuspectingly marched straight into meticulously laid trap. As the Roman army charged towards the Carthaginian center, they anticipated an easy victory as they had achieved many times before. However, Hannibal had other plans. With surgical precision, he had devised an unconventional formation, a crescent that protruded towards the enemy, sending waves of fear through their ranks. As the Romans advanced, they found themselves ensnared in an increasingly narrowing semicircle, with the Carthaginian wings extending on either side like the sinister arms of a lurking predator. Mago, Hannibal's brother, and their heavy infantry lay concealed on the flanks, patiently waiting for opportune moment. As the Romans advanced further into the semicircle, these hidden forces sprang from the sides, executing a deadly pincer movement. The Romans found themselves surrounded, their numerical advantage now a detrimental factor. They were squeezed so tightly that they were barely able to wield their weapons, let alone put up a fight. The Carthaginian forces converged upon them, and a horrific carnage ensued. In the span of a single day, it is estimated that about 50,000 Roman soldiers fell on the battlefield. This defeat was one of the most severe that the Roman Republic had ever endured. However, this victory of Hannibal was not just a military achievement, it was a psychological warfare that shook Rome to its very core. The Battle of Cani sent shockwaves through the Roman Empire, tarnishing their aura of invincibility. Yet Rome did not concede defeat. Embodied with a spirit of resilience and determination that would later become legendary, they were undeterred. They reflected on their losses, refined their strategies, and eventually emerged victorious in the Second Punic War. But the horrific memory of Cani, the ghostly images from that battlefield, would continue to haunt them for generations to come. Hannibal's strategic acumen displayed at Cani became a benchmark in military academies worldwide. His double envelopment maneuver continues to be a subject of study in contemporary times, a timeless lesson in exploiting enemy vulnerabilities and using the element of surprise to yield devastating results. Despite Carthage's ultimate defeat, Hannibal's reputation as one of the greatest military minds in history remains intact. The Battle of Cani remains one of the greatest tactical feats in military history, a testament to Hannibal's genius. Finally, we land in 1944, on the beaches of Normandy. a severe, brutal landscape of sand, sea, and blood, bearing the immense weight of a world embroiled in a war of colossal proportions and playing host to a battle that would shift the direction of history. D-Day. This term, D-Day, holds significant meaning in military terminology, signifying the commencement of a significant combat operation. Yet it's the 6th of June, 1944, that has deeply embedded itself into the annals of human recollection. D-Day symbolizes unwavering bravery, immense sacrifice, and the indomitable spirit of humanity that steadfastly refuses to succumb. As the sun's first rays of June 6, 1944, pierced through the morning mist, they revealed an awe-inspiring yet horrifying sight. Laid bare before the world was the largest naval force known to mankind. Thousands of ships brimming with soldiers, military vehicles, and artillery teetered on the precipice of unleashing havoc on Normandy's shores. The world held its breath as Operation Overlord began. Operation Overlord was far from a typical military maneuver. It was an invasion of unparalleled scale, the result of countless hours of strategic planning, rigorous calculations, and intensive preparation. The stakes were sky-high, the obstacles numerous, and the room for error virtually non-existent. One formidable goal governed the Allies' actions: to pierce through Hitler's fortress Europe, re-establish a Western front. The tremendous scale of this undertaking required unparalleled courage, steadfast determination, extraordinary leadership, and flawless coordination. This epic confrontation brought together the Allied forces, a diverse coalition of American, British, and Canadian troops united in their commitment to liberty and their resistance against tyranny. At its helm was a man who would later become a symbol of exceptional leadership, General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who became the 34th President of the United States. Opposing them were the formidable German forces, under the command of Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, known as the Desert Fox for his strategic brilliance in the North African campaigns. Rommel, a highly experienced military leader, led a deeply entrenched force fortified with concrete bunkers, artillery, and machine gun nests. The German defenses were robust, meticulously designed to withstand even the most vigorous assaults. The battle began with the Allied forces launching an armada of about 5,000 ships from the English Channel. In a bold move, airborne troops were parachuted into France with the mission of securing vital roads and bridges. This daring act, despite the inherent risks, demonstrated the audacity and resolve of the Allied forces. As the Allies stormed they were met with a barrage of gunfire from the German defenses. Yet they pushed forward fearlessly, staring death in the eye, and advanced. The battle was intense and brutal. The Allies fought relentlessly for every inch of ground against a resilient enemy. By day's end, they had secured a significant foothold in Normandy, but at a tremendous cost. Thousands of soldiers, many barely out of their teens, had made the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. But their sacrifice was not in vain. The successful landing marked a critical turning point in the war. Post-D-Day, the Allies gradually expanded their stronghold on Normandy, effectively pushing the German forces back. This breakthrough was a precursor to the subsequent liberation of Paris that summer and eventual collapse of the Nazi regime. D-Day was more than a battle. It encapsulated the unity, determination, and resolve of the Allies. It immortalized the bravery of the soldiers who fought, many of whom were barely adults. Their valor, their resilience under overwhelming odds, and their unwavering allegiance to the cause of freedom steered history onto a different course. The echoes of D-Day still reverberate in our collective memory, serving as a potent reminder of the harsh realities of war, the importance of alliances, and the human capacity for courage in the face of daunting odds. D-Day marked the initiation of the downfall of Nazi Germany and changed the trajectory of World War II, a testament to the courage and determination of the Allied forces.